Hi guys, wanted to do a quick video about the 460 headers. I'm going to try this white set of 460 headers on the Cadillac motor. I have rigged the flange. The flange was 4 bolt, and of course my muffler is 3 bolt, but this is just a run stand, so I just kind of rigged it for the moment. And I want to show you what the difference is on the 460 header as compared to a Cadillac. Now, this, of course, is the Cadillac gasket. It's square flange, and Ford is oval. And if you look, the interesting thing is that the bolt pattern is the same going from bolt to bolt on the flange, but the center is different. As you go down, it gets further off. Now, this particular set of headers is an individual flange, so I can spread the ports just a little bit because Ford is 4.9 bolt center and Cadillac is 5-inch bolt center. So I've got about 3/8 of an inch I got to make up for end to end. Now, this particular set of headers is probably going to be okay. I'm going to try them here and see if they run and seal, and it doesn't look like I'm going to have too much of a trouble. It's a very small port on this. Now, if you compare that to a standard Ford gasket, and you can see that the port on a Ford is substantially bigger than these headers. Now, I have another set of headers. I actually have 3 Ford headers, but one's for like a boat, so that's not going to be much help to us. You can see this is Flowtech. And again, the port is smaller than standard Ford port. So these are basically truck headers. But if you compare it to a Cadillac, if I can find the right spot looking through the camera here, if you look, you actually wind up with a gap right here. So if I was to use this particular set of headers, it's not a great port match, and I would probably have to do a little bit of welding right in here in order to get it to seal. Now, I mostly bought these because they were inexpensive, and I figured worst case scenario, they're close enough that I could cut the flange off and mount a Cadillac flange to the header. But this white set that I have, which is old Hedman. Now, I've had these since the 90s, so don't ask me for an exact application. I'm going to say truck, and it's dual bolt pattern, so it's got, I think it's maybe, FE is straight, so I'm not real sure what the other port is. Cleveland, maybe? I don't know. But it's close enough, I think I can get it to seal. And I'm going to measure across the motor in order to see how wide the motor is. I'm going to hang a plumb bob down and mark the floor once I get the other header on. And then I'm going to do the same thing in my truck at the frame rail. I'm going to mark the width of the frame rail on the ground and measure the distance. That way I can decide if these have any hope of fitting inside the frame rail to where maybe I can use them on this truck project that I'm working on with the 76 Chevy pickup and putting this motor in. Now I've got the motor pretty well ready to go. Everything's hooked up. It's got antifreeze in it. This has got the 460 adapter and Torker 1 intake on it. And so once I get the header on, we should be able to fire it up and make some noise and see how well it does. I figure it's probably going to leak down here. Like I said, I've just kind of rigged it. But this is just kind of a quick test. And if it really gives me trouble, I can always put the Monte Carlo headers on it. And that's another option I have. I might measure after these. Is I've got the original set of headers that I've been using on the run stand that were made for the Monte Carlo years ago. And maybe they'll work in the truck, but I like these because they're short here, and so I should be able to make an adapter over to the other part of the exhaust and just kind of make it work. So I'm going to continue on. I'll take a quick stop and get that other header mounted up and the muffler on it, and then we'll fire this puppy up and see what happens. See you again in a bit. Okay, I got the headers on and fired the engine. It's late. I did struggle on the other side with one bolt hole, and that may be why these headers were returned to the speed shop. I got them because they didn't consider them sellable, and I'm thinking it's because one of the bolt holes was a little off, so I had to take this header off and fix it. Now I ran it for a minute, but they're smoking like crazy, and it's late, and so I really need to run it outside, and I didn't want to do that. It was quiet as a mouse. In fact, it was quieter than it was with my old headers, and so I'm really thinking these are going to work fine if the width comes out right. And I still need to measure that, but with all my fussing around, like I said, it's kind of late, and I'm going to call it a day. I don't want to run this outside in the dark. The intake had no leaks. The engine fired straight up. I still have 60 pounds of oil pressure. The thermostat housing didn't leak at all. The filter, I cut off the old filter. I put a new filter on it. I cut the filter apart, and there is no debris in the filter at all. A little dirty, but considering this was the make it run motor, that's kind of to be expected. But other than that, it looked great and ran really well for the minute before it started fuming me out, and I shut it off. So I'm sorry, I did want to show it running, and I will in the future. I'll do a little short or something, but it's all together, and it's looking like the header's sealed just fine. Even my rig on the 4-bolt part seems to be working just fine, and it's not great. I don't expect it to hold up, but at least let me finish the test and get my measurement. So that's the status, and I guess I'll talk to you later. Bye.